I don't remember when I first saw Hocus Pocus. It definitely wasn't when it was new, but I was young enough that I really liked it and was swept up by its whimsy. But a film like this goes through cycles, I find. At a certain age, one finds themselves with a false sense of maturity and an inflated sense of self-importance. Hating stuff becomes a sign of having refined tastes. And while I wasn't as bad as some people I knew, because I really wondered why so many people I went to film school with seemed to hate anything that wasn't directed by Kubrick, I still had my obnoxious moments and decided that Hocus Pocus actually sucked. Most likely because an internet celebrity like Nostalgia Critic told me that it sucked. I don't remember if it was him specifically. But reviewing movies over time has really taught me to stick to my guns and be true to myself. My preferences, and also being honest about who certain movies are made for. Not that being a kid's movie is an excuse for making a bad movie, but it is important to remember what it was like watching movies as a kid. Anyway, all of this is to say I watched Hocus Pocus for the first time in years and actually enjoyed it. It's not an amazing film, and maybe a bit too celebrated by nostalgic millennials, but it hits the marks well enough for the relatively unambitious Halloween flick that it is. And frankly, there aren't too many great Halloween movies for kids. The whole horror genre has had a good hold on the month, so adults are well taken care of. But I can't think of too many flicks that appeal to kids, especially in 1993. There was The Monster Squad, and you could argue Return to Oz from the 80s, and Nightmare Before Christmas would also open in 1993. Anyway, Hocus Pocus follows Max Dennison, who has recently moved to Salem, Massachusetts from California with his family. He's a teenager, so he's missing his friends, and he loves yabos, and he really resents taking his sister out for trick-or-treating. But taking her out gives him an opportunity to impress the hot girl he has a crush on, and so they go to the town's legendary abandoned witch's house that had 3 witches executed after they killed a local girl and turned her brother into a cat. Of course, Max doesn't believe any of this stuff, and when he lights the black flame candle on a lark, he accidentally resurrects the witches, who are now on a quest to kidnap more children and drain their youth to give themselves eternal life. It's a great Halloween premise and lends itself to comedy as the world clearly changed over the last 300 years. It's a fish out of water story, or 3 fish out of water story, and the film definitely leans into that. There's a battle between them being completely lost in the new world, but also the fact is they are really powerful witches and they can operate in plain sight because no one believes in witches this day and age, and their eccentric costumes are easily dismissed because it's Halloween. The setup is perfect. Omri Katz does a good job as Max, this being familiar territory for him as he was the star of the kids' supernatural comedy Erie, Indiana. The other 2 kids are fine enough as well, but the reason most of us remember this movie is the witches. Bette Midler leads the pack as Winifred Sanderson, and you can tell she's just having a blast in the role. There's not a single moment where she phones it in, and while I know she's got a whole career before this, and was the superstar name attached to the project, this is actually likely the movie that millennials know her best from. Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathleen Najimy, forgive me if I said that wrong, play the other 2 sisters and are also hamming it up and having a blast. I'm also a big fan of Thackeray Binks, the talking cat. Even if that special effect is a little bit spotty, every movie is better with a cat. Though this does bring up some issues of the movie. Max's little sister, Danny, based on the ending, was supposed to be building a special relationship with Binks, and there's a scene to convey that where she promises to take care of him for the rest of her life as Binks cannot die. But beyond that, the film failed to connect the pieces of this relationship. And that can be said for a lot of the character work in the film, including Max and his crush, Allison. Though I can say that the relationship that did work best was the brother-sister relationship of Max and Danny, and that is the most important one in the film, to be honest. But this isn't easy stuff when you're trying to keep the film on a lean hour and a half. They keep the plot moving forward, but the story of the characters gets a little lost. Perhaps even with another 5 minutes added in, there could have been the right pieces to make it all come together nicely. But that would mean more time on our young protagonists and less on the witches, who are really what people came to the movie for. I guess you have to hand it to the filmmakers that they understood what the draw was. Originally, Hocus Pocus was seen as a financial disappointment for Disney, but I'm sure it's made up for its theatrical shortcomings in the home video market. I mean, they did decide to make a legacy sequel after all. So while Hocus Pocus isn't a masterpiece, it's clear that it's found an audience and definitely holds a place in kids and nostalgic millennials' Halloween movie rotation. And that's all a movie can hope to do, right? And yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and a decent 3 out of 5 stars. Let us know in the comments down below how you saw Hocus Pocus. Did you see it in the theaters, or were you one of the ones who found it on the home video market and watched it continuously there? Let's talk about it in the comments down below, and don't forget to go into the description to check out our new Patreon page. Thanks so much for watching.